Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. We're finally getting some good weather here in Ontario. Our trails are only about 3 weeks away from opening up, and I'm just out doing some work on the trailer, and I thought it would be a good time to do a little review video and a test of a brand new power station that I just received from a company called AllPowers. You've seen probably on my videos last year, we did a lot of trailer camping in the ATV trailer, and I was using power banks to power those camping trips. This time, I've got a new one, and both a power bank and solar panel from this company called AllPowers. So this is their 2500 watt power bank, along with, I got two of their 400 watt solar panels. So this is one of them here. You can see two panels, but this unfolds to 5 full panels. It's a very large solar panel, 400 watts. We're gonna test everything out. I'm gonna see how much output I can get from those solar panels, and we're going to test this out in the trailer and see what it'll power. All right guys, so this is the AllPowers R2500 portable power station. This is a 2500 watt power station, and it has a 4000 watt peak surge capacity. So this will power any appliance or accessory that you have that can plug into a regular household outlet. It'll have no problem powering any of those devices. It also has a battery capacity of 2016 watt hours. So this is perfect for those multi-day camping trips or RV trips. And it falls sort of in that sweet spot as far as I'm concerned, as far as being not too big where you're not gonna wanna take it with you, but it's not too small where it's just not gonna have the capacity to get you through a few days. So if you're looking for something for multi-day camping trips to help charge your devices or power your trailer or your camper, this is probably the perfect size for that without getting into generators and that kind of thing. So what I'm gonna do is I wanna run through sort of an overview of the features. I'm gonna show you the different ports, the inputs and outputs that it has, and then I'm gonna try powering a few different devices off of it. I have a 1500 watt portable heater here that I'm gonna try. I'm also gonna power my trailer off of it, see how it works with the lights and that kind of thing that I have in here. And then I'm gonna test out the 2 solar panels that I got with it as well. We're gonna hook up both of them, so that'll be a combined 800 watts of solar, and we're gonna see how much power we can put into it. So for right now, let's get into the ports and we'll go through a quick overview of it. So one of the things I really like about this power station is the selection of outputs that you have on the front here. It has a really good selection of both AC, DC, and USB outputs. So across the bottom here, and they're all covered with rubber flaps as well to help sort of protect from the elements, although the power station is not waterproof or water resistant in any way. The sides are completely open for venting and that kind of thing. So even though you do have some dust covers on the front, the rest of the power station is not protected from dust at all. But across the bottom here, you have 4 regular 20 amp AC outputs, 2 here and 2 here. And then in the center, you have an RV style plug, which is really nice that you have that connector, although it only is a 20 amp. It's not a 30 amp like it would typically be on an RV. So just be aware of that. You can use that connection, but only power up to 20 amps. And then down the USB side here, it has, under these 2 caps, you have 4 USB A's, and those are 12 watt for these 2 here and 18 watt on those 2. And then above that, you have 2 100 watt USB-Cs. So for powering your phones and charging different devices, it really has a good selection of outputs without having to use splitters or any sort of hubs like that. Everything's right in the unit. And then over on this side here, you have a standard 12 volt lighter socket and a couple of barrel connectors underneath. I don't have anything that uses those types of connections, but if you did, it has those barrel type connectors there. And then across the front for powering each different section, you have your main power button here, which will turn everything on and turn your display on. And then under each section, you have a little button underneath here. So if I was to power on the USB section, you just hit the power button there, and now that section's powered. We can power the DC side over here, and then your AC power is down on the bottom there. One thing to know about this unit is that when you power on the AC, once that inverter is on, you probably can't hear it right now on video, but the fan turns on and it's on continuously. the fan does not turn off. So even though right now there's no draw on this right now, nothing's plugged into it, that fan is still running. So if you're using this at night or it's really quiet and you're gonna be distracted by having a fan going, that's one thing to know about this unit, is that it doesn't turn off. So I'll get it turned around and then we'll look at the two sides and see what we have there. So this end here is your charging end. So you can see you've got a flap here which keeps everything nice covered and protected. You just push in on that and lift up, and then you have your AC input for your AC charging cord, and it comes with this nice little bag here to keep your cabling and stuff in, and it's just a regular AC charging cord, no transformer or anything on it. So that's a nice charging cord that it comes with. So that will plug in right there. You also have a fuse just in case for overload protection. You've got a resettable circuit breaker there. And then you have your solar input on this side as well, which we'll test out shortly with the solar panels. I'll get it turned around and we'll look at the other side, because you can actually link this and expand it to other expansion batteries as well. So if you were to use it in a more power demanding application or use it for home backup, you have that capability. So I'll turn it around, we'll look at that side. All right, so on this end, very similar to the other end, you have that same sort of protective flap. Open that up and you have access to 2 expansion ports. So it's really nice that a battery bank of this size, AllPowers has given you the option of expanding this to additional expansion packs. So if you were to use this for home backup or for longer camping trips or RV trips, this gives you that capability, and not all power stations do. So I like that that's included with this one. I just want to go through a few other specs on this unit, and the first one is charging. You can charge this with up to 1500 watts of AC charging input and up to 1000 watts of solar if you had that much available to you. And the nice thing with this is that you can combine those for a total of 2500 watts of charging input. So on a unit this size, with being 2500 watts, that means you could charge this in as little as an hour, which is really nice for a unit this size. And speaking of the size, physically it's not too big, but it does weigh about 64 pounds. So it's still, it can still be maneuvered, it's not too bad, but just something to keep in mind that it is 64 pounds when you're going to be moving it around. Another thing I want to talk about is the fan that runs consistently on the AC output on this. I'm going to put up a couple clips where I tested the charging speed, both with the mute charging, the standard and the fast charging, and I put the microphone sort of on the table beside here, right beside the fan, so that you can hear each of those and how loud the fan is at each of those charging settings. And I'm going to put those up on the video now, just so that you can hear the differences, because it is something that you do need to know with this unit, that fan will run consistently. All right, so now I just want to go through powering a few things just to show you how it works. I did have my trailer running off of this. I had the lighting in here running off of it. It was drawing about 250 watts or so. But on the video, I was getting some black banding, and I'll just show you a quick clip of that. I'm not sure why I was getting that. I don't get that when I'm plugged into the house, and I don't get it plugged into some of my other power stations. But just on this one, so I don't know if it's the type of power coming out of here or the frequency. In real life here, I didn't notice anything. The lights aren't flickering or anything like that, but it was just on the video I was getting that banding. I also have a 1500 watt heater here. So what I'm going to do now is just power it on. I'll power on the AC, and that fan kicks in, and then we're going to turn on the heater here. We'll turn it right up to full and see how many watts we draw on this. So the AC inverter has just kicked on, and you can see I'm up to 1600, just over 1600 watts right now. And the fan on the unit itself is running very high right now. So I don't know if you can hear that on video. I'm sure you probably can. I'll get a little closer down to it, and you can hear that fan. And the unit itself right now is sort of settled at about 1240 watts. So it's running it fine. It's telling me with 65% capacity right now, it would run for about 51 minutes with this amount of draw continuous. So that's not too bad, considering it's only at 65% right now. But you can definitely hear how loud that fan is with this amount of load on it. Now, the last thing I want to test out before we wrap up is the solar charging. So we're going to go out in the backyard. I'm going to set up both of the solar panels, and we're going to see what sort of solar input we can get into this. So I've got the solar panel set up just on my back patio here, and just with how high the sun is in the sky right now, I've decided to just lay it onto the stairs there to give it a little bit better angle to the sun. You may be able to see a little bit of shading on the patio just from a tree that I have in the background, so it's not perfectly unobstructed right now. But even with this one panel, hopefully you can see on the screen there, if you can, I'm getting right now 309 watts. It was up to 321 at one point. So that's actually pretty impressive from the one panel with a little bit obstructed view right now. I'm gonna try and hook up the second panel and hook them both up in series. I won't be able to get as good of an angle with the second panel because I'll have to have it standing on its own feet that are built in. But I'm gonna see how high I can get. We can go up to 1,000 watt solar with this. So I'm just gonna see how much we can get with those two 400 watt panels. So just before I show you the combined power of both panels, right now I just have it hooked up to this bottom panel here that's just laying flat on the patio. And the reason I have it laying flat is because I had it up on the built-in feet and it was just too steep of an angle. And because the cables that are coming off the back of these are very short, they're only, looks like about 2 feet of cable that's coming off the back of each panel. Just makes it difficult to position them properly. You would definitely want to get some extension cables for that to be able to take panels this size and spread them out properly. But just with this panel that's on the ground right now, we are getting, right now showing 163, 165 watts roughly off just that panel. So when I connect both of them together in series, I wasn't getting much more than I was getting just having that single panel that's angled. I was getting about 330 watts. My understanding with wiring them in series is that the panels are affected by each other. So if one is obstructed, it's gonna affect the power from the other one as well. So I'm gonna show you it connected both in series and we'll see what we can get. But like I said, it was just over about 330 watts. So I'll do that now and show you what that looks like. Okay, so here now I've got both panels connected in series. You can definitely see it's far from ideal conditions. You can see quite a bit of shadow on this, this bottom panel here, just based on the space I have in the yard here and the obstructions from trees. So with this less than ideal setup here, you might be able to see on the screen, right now it's 345 watts, 350. So not bad, but definitely not getting what you would expect out of the two panels. But if they were angled properly, then we should be getting quite a bit more than that. Like I said, you can go up to 1,000 watts solar. This is 800 watts combined. But just in the situation we're looking at here, I would be better off just having the single panel up top there that's angled. It's got a better angle to the sun, so I'd get just as good a results just having the one. So that'll give you an example of what you can do with two panels here, or one, if you were just get one panel. So here's a look at the panel all folded up, so you can see the one open and the one folded up here. It is heavy. It's not a light panel by any means. It's about 40 pounds, so definitely substantial. Has a really nice sized pocket on the back here, a zippered pocket, and inside that is where all your cabling and accessories can be kept. So it feels like a really nicely made panel in itself. It has the kickstands here that come out. They're not adjustable, so you know, once you reach the end of the webbing there, the strap, that's the angle that you're gonna get. So one thing I just wish it would have had is a little bit longer cabling coming out of the panel itself, just so you have a little bit more flexibility when you're hooking them up together. But has a nice carry handle here on the end, so it'll carry like a suitcase. And you know, for a 400 watt panel, it's actually really nicely packaged and a nice size when it's folded up. And I'll just show you one more time. So that's the one panel hooked up now, and we're pulling in just over 300 watts, 304 watts there now. So not much of a difference with having the second panel, only because the second panel, because it was obstructed, it was actually holding back the effects of this panel. So overall, I'm pretty impressed with that. All right, guys, so that's gonna pretty much wrap up the video. Overall, I'm pretty happy with this unit. One thing I would like to see changed in the future is that fan that runs constantly though. It would be nice if they could set it so that it only kicks in if it needs that extra cooling and it wasn't running all the time, anytime the AC ports were on. Because this can be used as a UPS, an uninterruptible power supply, if you were using this in a bedroom or something with a CPAP machine, or you had computer equipment or something running off of it all the time, and that fan was running all the time, it's probably going to keep you up at night. So just one thing to keep in mind with that, and something that I'd like to see them maybe change in the future. Overall though, with the charging, with the solar, I was very impressed with the solar panels. With one panel going, I was getting over 300 watts. With the two panels going, and I sort of had one sort of handicapping the other, you know, we started to see a little bit of a drop in solar there, but I think under more ideal conditions with both panels getting a good view of the sun, we'd be very close to the 800 watt rating there. So I'm very impressed with the solar. As far as price goes on this unit, AllPowers has offered a 10% discount code. It's JOR10. I'm going to put it in the description along with a link. If you're willing to sacrifice something that's a little bit bigger and a little bit heavier than some of the other units of similar capacity, but the price is quite a bit less expensive than those units. So if you're looking for something a little bit more budget friendly, this might be something worth looking at, especially for the capacity and the features that you get in this unit. So I really hope you liked the video. If you did, please give it a like, comment below, let me know your thoughts. And if you're not already subscribed, subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you on the next one. I appreciate you watching, guys. Take care.